Thank you for joining this webinar. Today, we're going to be talking about business owners and employee benefits. So, what does it look like to be a solo business owner and also have benefits? And then, what does it like to be a business owner, but then also want to offer your employee benefits? So, what does it look like to have life insurance, health insurance, retirement? Over in my private Facebook group, we've talked about this. I've made polls and just asked the group of that consist of business owners and entrepreneurs like, hey, like, what do you want more information about? What would be valuable to you? The number one thing that they mentioned is, hey, we want to know more about what does it look like getting a small business equipped with the benefits of life insurance, health insurance, and retirement. So that's my goal today. I want to go over that, just make sure that I'm just diving a little bit deeper for you guys, explaining some of the things that go along with it. Also, if you want to join that Facebook community, go to groups on Facebook and then also type in covered with Cam and then request access to that Facebook group. You can also follow me for just daily content about this. I post stuff about this often through my stories, but also just on my Instagram feed as well too. So if you just want more information, you want to hang around a little bit more, see what the insurance world is about, and what does it look like for a business owner, head over to those two platforms, follow me, join me, and then grow in your awareness of this kind of content. So this today, what I want to talk about, this is our agenda, the content that we're going to cover. We're going to talk about why offer benefits, you as a business owner, why you should have it, but then also for your employees, what does it look like getting them on board as well too. We'll talk a little bit more about life insurance, health insurance, retirement. We'll go through some real life examples that I've done for a couple of businesses and then how to implement into your business. So what do the steps look like to secure this for yourself, but also for your employees? So we're going to talk a little bit, dive a little bit into life insurance, from the individual to also to multiple owners of a business. So term insurance, this is something that is temporary, typically for 10, 20, 30 years, and it's low cost. So I typically don't see business owners doing term insurance, but it is common with the different kind of strategies depending on what you are wanting and what you're looking for yourself and for your business. The common thing that I see is permanent insurance, so something called whole life, where you have coverage for your full life, and typically the ranges between 25 to $60,000. You'll hear people say, one times your income. Sometimes I'll see $25,000 because it's a low amount, but it's significant enough for burial expenses and things like that. The other great thing is 25 to 60,000. Sometimes those can get you into some no exams. So when you are trying to get yourself or employees equipped with life insurance, the lower the face amount, generally those typically do not go through any kind of blood work, urine tests, things like that. They're quick and easy to get issued. If you are a business owner with a partner or there's multiple owners in your business, there's a life insurance product that can help you as well too. So it ensures that a deceased partner shares of the business is bought out by the surviving owners, and this particular part of insurance also prevents ownership transfer to non-involved heirs. So what that looks like is, if I'm in business with my best friend and he is married and he dies, now his wife is now the business partner. We built a successful construction company, and that spouse doesn't know anything about construction. It could be a nightmare for myself and his spouse to run a business together. So what this life insurance does with multiple business owners is that policy, when that partner passes away, gets paid out to the spouse. That way, that spouse is now bought out from that partner's shares, and then now the business is now mine. It's 100% mine because that life insurance policy went to the spouse of the person who passed away, and then for their shares of the company, and now I own 100% of shares in that company. So if you're a multi owner in a business or you have one business partner, there's life insurance for that. The other thing is for you've grew a successful business to now you have different seats of leadership. So obviously there's a CEO, there's a CFO, there's a COO, and it can continue to go on. So life insurance owned by the business on a key employee, it helps offset loss of a vital team member, and it can also pay for lost revenue and recruitment costs. So what that would mean is if I was the CFO for a business and I passed away and that business had a life insurance policy on me, when I pass away, that 25, 50, $60,000 would go to the business to help them go seek someone else to replace me, or could cover relocation costs. So they found someone in California that's now going to come to Indiana, and they can use that 25, 50, 60, whatever that amount is, to help pay for the travels for them to be in Indiana. So life insurance is something that is very simple for the individual, but it can get more complex depending on the structure of your business. Having different titles in your business, like CEO, CFO, COO, but also if you own a business with your best friend or with an investor that puts all the money up for the business, having something for multiple owners like that, or a business partner, there's a lot of life insurance that can fit every need for every business. Health insurance. Health insurance is something that could be offered in three different ways. So you have your full coverage, your partial coverage, and then your standalone and supplemental coverage. So you as a business owner for yourself, if you're someone that has a spouse that already has health insurance, you might not need health insurance for your business for yourself. Maybe you could benefit from a standalone policy or a supplemental policy where if your spouse's insurance doesn't cover everything, then you have another secondary insurance that can come in, kick in, and pay for everything else. So your full coverage for yourself, but what you can also for your employees is going to be a little bit more cost effective than something that's just a standalone supplemental coverage. So if you want to offer your employees full coverage that's going to pay for their yearly checkups, any kind of prenatal pregnancy appointments, and then also any kind of I can't even say that word, preventative care, anything that covers that, then full coverage insurance is something that would work for that. And it's also going to have your dental, your vision. You think of anything medical, dental, vision, full coverage means it's going to have everything in there. So that might be something you want as a business owner. It might be something you want to offer to your staff. Completely up to you. Partial coverage. This is like, hey, I want to do something in the middle. I don't know if we have the budget to do the full coverage, but we might have something to do partial. What does that look like? Typically, with partial coverage, you're still going to get everything in the full coverage, but your preventative care things, those appointments are going to be split 80-20. So insurance would take care of 20% of that bill, and then the employee, yourself, someone would pay that other 20%. So it's an 80-20 split. Insurance 80%, you 20%. And oftentimes those will not have dental or vision because it's just covering medical and it's at a cheaper rate. So there's going to be an 80-20 split on most of those preventative cares. And then obviously standalone policies. If you don't want to do the full coverage, partial coverage, you can also just offer dental and vision. I always think offering something is better than nothing. But if they already have a spouse that's already on an insurance plan in the family, or you're already on your spouse's insurance plan, something that's a supplemental policy that can just cover dental, vision, or any remaining costs, that could also work as well. So, retirement. What does retirement look like? You have two ways that you can go. You can go the 401k route. You can also go the Roth IRA, simple IRA route. The 401k route, the before we even think about retirement is a long-term game. Okay? So when you are the business owner and you're like, "Hey, I think I want to offer retirement for my employees." That's fantastic, but don't feel the pressure to contribute or have there be $1 million, $2 million for them to retire. Something is better than nothing. It's gonna be a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's something that's gonna take time. So, doing, $20 a month, $50 a month, that's okay, especially if there's a match involved as well too. That's totally fine. You just want to get the process started as the business owner. When you have employees and now they take ownership of this, it's their job to contribute more, do those kind of things if they want to, depending on how they want to retire. So the 401k route, long-term savings, like I mentioned, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. Something in there is better than nothing. If you have someone that's coming from a previous job, typically they have a 401k plan. You can roll those over into either of these account. That way, they might have 80 grand somewhere. They can roll that over and still contribute to that fund. That way it can continue to grow. And then the contributions that are made grow tax deferred. All that means is you pay taxes later. So taxes won't come out now. You'll pay taxes later when you do retire. So there is something called a Roth IRA, simple IRA. The only difference is a Roth IRA, you pay taxes now. A simple IRA, you pay taxes later, similar like a 401k. That's the only difference. Any kind of IRA is going to be easier to set up than a 401k plan. There's just a lot less paperwork and it's a little bit more seamless. No matter if you choose the 401k or IRA for yourself or your employees, contribution, what that could look like is a percentage or a flat dollar amount. So typically 1, 2, 3% with a match, or again, a $25, $50, $100 with a match. It's completely up to you. Offering that match is incredible for the prospective staff that's going to be, joining your team when you're like, hey, we offer benefits, and with our retirement plan, we're going to also match what you put in. We're going to match 1%. We're going to match your $50 that you put in every pay period. This is something that is super customizable for you and also for your staff. So, with this, we have some examples. I kind of wanted to just put some real life scenarios out there for you guys, show you guys what I've worked on in the past and what it could look like for you. So when we're looking at this table here, you're going to see that there's no dependents. Everything is just for the individual that is working for the company. No to the tobacco. They're not tobacco users. If you answer yes, you can still be covered. It might just be rated because you seem more at risk. So the policy might be higher than what it would be for someone that's a non-tobacco user. And then you have different deductibles at the top. You're going to see 1.5, which is $1,500, and then you're going to see a 3,000 deductible, and then you're going to see dental and vision is included, and then you're going to see the life. The life insurance, this is for a $25,000 whole life policy. So low face amount, also going to come with a low monthly amount as well. All of the numbers you see on the screen are going to be monthly amounts. At the bottom of the screen, you're going to see for you as the employer, if you want to pay for 100%. So if you're saying, hey, I want to pay for all of the health insurance, all the life insurance, the dental, vision, I want to pay for all of it, then the 100% reimbursement, that is what you would pay every single month for these 3 employees. If you're going to say, hey, I want to pay 50%, then that's what you would pay each month, and then the employees would pay the remainder half of their shares. So you have complete flexibility. Normally it's 100% or 50%, but if you wanted to pay, I only want to pay $100 towards whatever plan that you want to do, we could make that happen. We just have to, work that out on the back end when we go to the billing stuff. But the main thing I want you guys to understand is for $991 for this company, they're paying $991.77, and they were, getting all of their employees covered with health insurance, life insurance, and then the retirement piece is on a separate piece because that can be a 1% or a flat amount. So this example right here and my next one is going to cover everything except for retirement, because retirement is based off of salary or a flat amount. So for just this example and the next one, it's just based off of health insurance and life insurance. If you have a team that's bigger than 3, this is typically what you're going to see. The age range on this is about, if I believe it's between 25 was the youngest, and I think maybe 61, no, not even 61. I think it was 51 was the oldest employee of this business. So you can kind of tell which one was the older client, which one was the younger client. This one is based off of deductibles of $3,000 and $6,000. So this is what a chart looks like when everything's completely organized for the business owner to say, okay, what does each employee look like? What does their health insurance look like? What does their life insurance look like? And then as the business owner, what can I handle? What kind of risk can I handle comfortably every month? Maybe it's like, hey, I only want to do the health insurance. The employee is going to take care of life insurance. That's okay. I think it's okay to also understand that most companies, when they do group plans like this with health insurance, life insurance, typically those are deducted on every single pay period. So typically the employer pays a small percentage or they pay nothing, and typically that will come out of the employee's paycheck. As a startup, someone that's smaller in a business, maybe that's your route that you need to go is with one or two employees. Is like, hey, I don't have the capacity to pay out of pocket right now, but we're going to pay you a little bit more. That way you can afford these benefits. I don't know what that looks like for you. I don't know what that scenario looks like for you, but I think it's okay to understand that you do not need to pay 100% of your employees' benefits. I believe you should pay some, but it's not a requirement to offer. And by offer just means, hey, you are now employed by us. We now have someone that can help you on board to with all of these benefits that you'll have access to. And then so talk a little bit about the onboarding process. So what this would look like is you would have a discovery meeting. We would get together and say, hey, what does your business look like? What's the goals of your business? We'd probably talk about budget. What are you currently paying? Um, and what are you getting with that budget? We would talk through all of those kind of things so we can make sure that what you are wanting as a business owner is something that we can even do. And then the application process. So I would sit down with you, your team, and we would go through an application. I would ask questions. We would have you guys sign the application. That way we can then put it through underwriting. Some of the plans we even offer don't even require underwriting. They might just require some type of phone call, conversation, something like that. Once you get approved, then we'll go through the process of actually equipping you again on what that policy does for you. So you're going to have ID cards for health insurance. You're going to have a lot of paperwork for your life insurance, what that looks like. Depending on permanent whole life, there's going to be cash value for your whole life. There's going to be a time where that policy expires for your term insurance. So we would walk through all of that when everything gets approved. But then also when you hire new employees, they would get that same kind of treatment as well, where I would come in and we would sit down, we would go back through this whole process of what the policy is, what it does, application, educating them. That way they understand their policy. And then for you as a business owner, every 12 to 18 months, we would reassess and say, hey, does this plan work? Is it working for you and your team? Do we need to switch to something else? Or do we need to tweak something? Maybe someone quit the job and you didn't realize that you're still paying for their benefits. We can adjust and we can do that as well too. So it's important that even if it's you yourself as a business owner or you have employees, it's always important to always go over what you have because things change, rate change. So you want to make sure you're always staying on top of what's protecting you and your family, but also what's in protecting your employees and their family as well too. So thank you for sitting through this webinar. It's just something that I wanted to put out on your behalf. You guys were asking the questions. You guys were wanting to know more information. So this is I feel like it's we went a little bit deeper, but it's still high level because everything can get down into the weeds. We can get down to the nitty gritty. But I really just wanted to just create this so that you guys had an understanding of where to start. And to start, have that conversation, look at some options because you never know until you have that conversation. So I'm here to have that conversation for you guys. If you're ready to talk, my number is on the screen. Feel free to call or text me. Instagram, Facebook, that's my handle, Covered with Cam. You can make sure that you join our private Facebook group. But then if you want to interact with me on a daily, go head over to my Instagram account where I post daily content on stories. and also just stuff to your feet. So I appreciate you guys. Hopefully, this adds some value. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out.